Okay, so the context is I watched the Baku pole position lap from Max. Oh, and by the way, the reason that this is important this weekend is because we're going to have more of this weekend, more switch changes, optimizing the car during the track, during the corners, during the lap. Yeah, it could be another Max masterclass this weekend. Look, man, here come the Max fanboys. Hopefully they've backed off me now that I've pivoted a little bit from being suspicious to now I'm like, okay, fair play. I've kind of come across that way. Look, there are some hills that I'm willing to die on. The short corners, the 7 technical corners, the speed and downforce, the steering wheel straight. These are all my philosophies. I'm willing to die on those hills. They always hold true. This one, I was suspicious, curious. I wasn't all in, but I was confident. And then, I don't bat 1,000, but at least if I make a mistake, I'm going to come out and say, yeah, that was not the right way to go. So in this one, I've pivoted. So like I say, I want to get your thoughts and comments as we go through. So I'm going to firstly give you the context as to why I was suspicious and curious about this steering wheel, the investigation work that I've done, where we've landed now, and what we can expect this weekend. So the reason I was a little bit suspicious was because there was a story here. There was it wasn't just one thing. There was 4 or 5 things that I'd seen with the Red Bull steering wheel where I was like, hang on a minute. What's going on here? There wasn't just one thing, like it changed something. There was 4 or 5 things. And I was like, well, there's enough there for a story. I was putting together a narrative based on everything I'd seen. So, so the first thing I'm going to run through those things now as to how I was putting that narrative together. And then we're going to go through and tick them off or cross them off as to how we can understand that. The first thing is the Red Bull steering wheel is usually very black. We usually don't get to see it. I'll bring it up for you guys now. We normally don't get a glance of it. So this is how it looked in the Monza pole position. No news here. I've never seen the Red Bull steering wheel beforehand. I know that there are videos like in Saudi Arabia pole where you can see it, but I didn't see it there personally. This was the Silverstone pole. It's pitch black. You can't see anything. And then the next one, this was the Japan pole, Suzuka. You can't see anything. So the first thing I was like, we never see the steering wheel, or at least we see this steering wheel very rarely, the changes flashing up. For example, if you watch a Mercedes or McLaren or whatever, you'll see the changes flash up. Williams is another good example. And I'm always like, what's going on there? How come we never see it? So either they're doing something with the brightness, or it's the angle of the steering wheel, or it's the camera, something like that. We never it's very rare to see the steering wheel. Of Max at least. So then when we get to see the steering wheel in Baku and it's flashing up in all these crazy places, I'm like, hang on, what's going on here? So I think it was worth questioning, but like I say, I'm going to share our learnings with you now. That's the first thing. The steering wheel is usually quite dark. The second thing was the warm button. So actually, before I'll show you guys the steering wheel. This is Max's steering wheel. I'll bring it up for you guys now. There's this button over here. This red button doesn't have a label on this image. But if I go next shot, you'll see Max's left thumb hitting that one. And yeah, apparently it's labeled warm. And I think it's flashed up B-Bell here, if I'm not mistaken. So then I was thinking about this and I'm like, hang on, what's the warm button? What is the warm button? Now, they don't need to be transparent to us as to what their buttons are labeled or as to what their buttons do. So, but again, it was just something that just adds to the story. What's the warm button? Now, it could be like Mercedes. They've got the magic button on the back of the steering, on the back of the Mercedes. You'll recall famously, I think it was 21, Hamilton in Baku, same track, left the magic button on, locked the front brakes heavily into turn 1, lost the lead, slipped all the way back on that race restart after the red flag. So, yeah, that was the second thing, the warm button. I think we can get around that one at the moment. I'm not sure what's causing the black screen. I think we can get around the warm button and just say it's some sort of multifaceted button doing some stuff. That's all we know at the moment. Now, the third piece of evidence that I was looking at was the places that Max is changing is and I said it, I think I said it right in the video. I said it's not impossible, but geez, to get your hand off the wheel and toggle the brake balance or even push a brake balance button in the middle of a chicane is not straightforward. It's not impossible, but it's not straightforward. And so I was looking at the locations that Max was making these changes, and I was like, impressive or suspicious or curious or whatever. I'm like, hang on a minute. So let's have a look. So this was the first one between turn 5 and 6 chicane. There's something that flashes up here. So it's after turn 5. I'll go back to my Baku track map, show you guys where we are. It was here. Entry to 5, nothing happens, but then there's a change here, which is between turns 5 and 6 in the middle of the chicane. So there it is there. And when it flashes up that white box, that's how you know a change has been made. So that's a tough spot to make a change. So I was like, okay, cool. The next one was between turns 8, 9, 10, 11. This is the castle section. You'll see it on the track. You'll see it on the track map. I'll show you guys in a sec. But again, it flashes up something else. Again, that's a really narrow, I think it's the narrowest piece of track on the calendar. Probably not the time you want to go down with your thumbs and change something. So she goes on the whiteboard where we are. We're over here now. Coming through this section, there's a change that happens across there. So the Max is making changes in some interesting locations. So that was that. Now I think we got an answer for that one. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Thanks to everyone sharing the video. Thanks to everyone commenting on my previous video. I hadn't seen this video before, but have a listen to this. This is Max discussing his steering wheel with Marc Marquez in some sort of Honda collaboration. You can find it on YouTube. I'll drop a comment. I'll drop the link in below. But if you go back to my previous videos, you'll find it. But have a listen to this, because I'm talking about the changes that are happening in very difficult places and how it's actually hard to make a change in those places. Have a listen to this.
Depends on the track layout. Like if a track has a lot of different corners where you have low speed, high speed corners, you need to change quite a bit. When it's all the same radius.
This is something unbelievable, because in the end it's changing the feeling.
Yeah, on your braking, the turn in, or and then of course you have the differential. You know, here the entry diff, the middle of the corner diff, like diff mid, engine braking. So of course when you're off throttle, how aggressive the engine is. A B-bow, so it's again the way the rear brakes are also working. And then of course the clutch. Yeah.
So he's talking about the back of the steering wheel now, because he's talking about the clutch.
Shifting. Yeah, so you can hold it.
This is nice.
And then these are like a DRS toggle, so to open the DRS.
Yes.
And this is a toggle that I use for, again, like if one corner is following the next very quickly and I cannot use these buttons.
Bang, have a listen to this. If one corner is following the next very quickly and I cannot use these buttons.
Yeah. I put it on this one so it's easier to activate, you know.
Okay.
It's just an easier toggle. And you can pull it or push it. It has two options.
So this is for the brakes too?
Yeah, in case, like, you know, sometimes you have one corner and then the next is very quickly, and then you cannot do it like that. You just quickly, like with one finger, you pull the...
I say many times on motorbikes and here the same. Many persons are able to be fast.
Yeah, but then the final...
have the skills to be fast, but the way to understand all these things, to be fast.
But again, I mean, if you do this for 1 or 2 days and you practice, you will understand. You know?
Yeah.
Well, there you go, guys. Max is saying, like, if there's a situation where I don't have time to get my hand off the wheel or whatever, then I use this one. Like if one corner follows one into the next, have a listen to that back. It's like Max has been training for exactly this situation in Baku. Have a look at the places where we're talking about where the changes are being made between 5 and 6 and between 8, 9, 10 and 11. Very, you know, unusual, uncharacteristic places to make a change. But that's genius. I can only pivot my position from being suspicious to that's genius. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. That's not luck. Max has been prepared for this exact moment and seemingly optimizing the car in places where other drivers would not think to optimize the car. And he's using that with the right hand push-pull toggle. Now, what is he changing on that push-pull toggle? What's that getting the car to do? Let's go back to the track map and have a think about it. I'm not sure. The only thing I can do is have a stab a little bit. In both of them, I feel like they're so slow speed and so clumsy, and Max always complains about understeer. I feel like they'd have something to do with the diff. That's my initial kind of reaction, because you want to get the nose into this corner. Likewise, this one. And you need to get the nose into this one because you want to open up 12 nicely. So I'm thinking diff has to be in there, but it doesn't need to be only diff. There might be even a downshift that happens there as well. There is the possibility that it's also multifaceted and can do engine braking. There is even a little push of the brake pedal gently. Could even be B-bell as well. And it's multifaceted, so it doesn't need to do like that push-pull toggle can make a few changes at once. The other thing it might do is on the exit, you're accelerating from very slow speed. So anything traction related, anything torque curve related, throttle mapping related. So I'm just going to put here, it could be to do with the throttle. It could also be to do with the engine torque. And when I say throttle, I mean throttle map. Could be torque map as well. It could be any of these. So sorry, I don't have an answer for you. But all I can say is I've pivoted my position from being suspicious and saying, hang on a minute, what's going on here? Having listened to that audio, Max prepared for exactly that moment. Well done. That's all I can say. Now, the fourth and final thing was the times of the race. And this is something I don't have an answer for you guys. So we talk about the black screen, which I was like, hang on. The warm button, the parts of the track, the times of the race. Last lap, last corner, 15 seconds in the lead. It flashes up BB offset. Let's have a look at that together. I'll show you guys here. So give me a sec. So have a look at steering wheel. Offset flashes up some sort of change with the right hand. So at this point, I'm looking here, lap 51, 15, 14.6 seconds in the lead. All is good. Why the need to make a BB offset change with the right thumb, presumably? This one I don't have an answer for. It's just Max doing Max things. Probably it's just like habit, you know, because you're just going around every lap doing the same changes at the same time. And it's like the downshift. You're 4 gears into here, 3 gears into here, 2 downshifts here, brake balance forward here. It's just like routine and habit. But for me, looking at it like post-race, and I have to give you guys only my honest, straight, instant, natural reactions to what I see. I was like, hang on, what's going on there? Final lap. But yeah, at this point, I can only say like that one, I'm going to tick it off as well and just say, it's probably just going through the motions. He's just driving like a robot at this point. He's just driving like a machine. So yeah. Did we address everything? As for the black screen and the warm button, I'm not sure. But as for the parts of the track, we have an answer to that one now. And as for the parts of the race, I think I have an answer for that one now as well, in terms of just, guys, let me know in the comments. I'll take a few comments at this point and we'll just see, like, does that all make sense? I want to show you guys Yuki Tsunoda's on board as well. And we'll talk about Piastri as well. Doesn't F1 have access to the data of the cars during the races? How can Red Bull be sus without being found out? It's a good question. Like having a week or two now to reflect on it and be like, what's actually happening? And having found that video, you guys helped me find that video where Max is talking about this specific situation and how he sets up the wheel for this exact moment. I'm not sus about it anymore. So. Johan Finstra, this is the part of the special sauce Chris Harris talked about. Yes, bang. So everyone talks about, like, there's a few things with Max, right? There's Max the driver, inputs, brake, steering, throttle. Okay, he's good, excellent, fine, tick. Something I think is not spoken about often enough is, so that's what Max does, obviously. Something which I don't think is spoken about often enough is what Max doesn't do. And this is like such a hack. Like what champions don't do. They don't do the social media. They're not big on the gym. They're not big on extracurricular activities. They're not in Milan doing fashion week. You know, they're not walking around pets in the paddock. And I'm talking about Lewis here, obviously, rest in peace, Roscoe. But they're not doing all that extracurricular activities such that they've got capacity and focus to nail this, right? To nail this. So that's where Chris was, he was searching big time for what is the secret sauce. Oh, is that it? Oh, no, it's not that. Is it that? No, it's not that. Is it the braking? Or is it the line? Or, do you know what I mean? I'm like, hang on. Look at what Max doesn't do. He's in a car as near as makes a difference every single day, whether that be a sim or an actual car, at least every week, right? I'm exaggerating. He's in a car every single week, every single day. He's driving as near as makes a difference all the time. Like, he's done clearly more driving than anyone else on the grid. I think when testing got decreased, like when we moved away from actual testing, all of the drivers thought, oh, there's no testing. What do I do? Play golf, play tennis. And Max is like, no. Opportunity. Like, he just loves driving and he loves working out how to be quick. So I think what he doesn't do is very underspoken about. And now we've got Max, the problem solver as well. Ability to diagnose problems, ability to identify where the problems are, ability to solve them, ability to recognize and optimize for solutions, ability to think critically out of the box, ability to set up the car and optimize it on differential, engine braking, brake balance, throttle maps, corner to corner, in between corners. Like, now you've got Max, the optimizer as well. So there's a few pieces there. So yes, Johan, very good. Let's have a look what you guys are saying. Enzo, you do that 50 times, your muscle memory just does it. Yeah, I agree. You just go around the track and you're just doing the same thing. And yeah, I agree with that one. Why would you change the feeling of the car during the last lap? By not making the changes you were making all other laps. That last part you've written there, I can't confirm or deny. If he was not doing it all the other laps. I presume he was. Otherwise, I wouldn't know why he would either. If he wasn't doing it all of the other laps and he just did it in the last lap, I would be like, yeah, that's a bit strange. Presumably, and I should double check, but if anyone has an onboard and can confirm or deny, presumably he was doing it at least most, if not all other laps. Presumably, I could be wrong there. Oh, this is a good one. I was thinking he was going for fastest lap on the final lap, so he's still making changes. That's a good one I didn't think of. Even though there's no point for it though anymore, but still maybe. You guys are saying some really good comments. May Q, champions don't do distractions. 100%. If I was interviewing Max in that Chris Harris thing, I'd be like surely there's an unfair advantage to Max's work ethic. Like, if you're going to beat Max, you've got to get up very early in the morning. You've got to get up at 4 a.m., do your sim hours, talk to coaches, talk to mentors, do more laps, try different cars, try different tracks, forwards, backwards, reverse, GT3, F1. You've got to be like, to beat Max, you've got to get up very early because Max is not doing any of the other stuff. Like, his social media is just very neutral. There you go. Right? Radar, RADR. Max does GT3 racing instead of golf. 100%. Luke, man, no testing means work more on your mental, work more on your racing techniques. 100%. So I think this is where we're starting to understand that if you actually dedicate yourself to your sport as a professional, look at the advantage that you can stretch on your competition. Max comes into races so much better prepared than anyone else. So yeah. Just relax. I thought, bro, he wasn't cheating. Yeah, we get it. We got to that already. Michael, I'm not convinced that he wasn't cheating. I'm convinced now. Like, just having heard from what Max and Mark saying, yeah, if it's between corners, I set it up with this toggle so I can make changes. Having heard that now, I'm like, okay, he's worked and practiced for this exact moment. I'd be curious to see why you think it is cheating at the moment. Okay, now check this out. I want to show you guys, this is Max, the difference maker, the optimizer. Have a look at Yuki Tsunoda's lap now. Let's have a look, do a little compare and contrast. I'll go back because this is all happening super quick. Hang on. All right, so we're entering where Max made his first change, 5 and 6. Look at the steering wheel. See third gear. Let me just get rid of that comment. Bang. No change. Nothing flashes up here. No news here. So then we continue down to turn 7. No news here either. Max pushed the warm button on the exit here. Nothing from Yuki. Into this section, I wouldn't expect anything anyway. Nothing here either. So then you want to ask yourself, like, is Yuki seeing the data? Is Max holding things back in practice? Are Max and Yuki driving the same type of car through these corners? Because Max can open the diff, change engine braking, help the throttle mapping on the exit. At that point, it becomes like a different handling car on your entry to 6, on your entry to 11 as well. So like, I've got a lot of questions there with Yuki, like what's happening there. I'm not sure. I don't have the answers there. But you compare Max's changes at very interesting, precise, profound locations. And then you compare Yuki's lap, no changes at all. And you're like, why not? So I'm not sure. Have a look at this. I wanted to talk to you guys about Piastri as well. This was just before Oscar Piastri crashed in Baku. And what you should see is his hand on the steering wheel, the right hand. No news here. And then the right hand still on the wheel, right index finger comes up, bang, a brake balance flashes up and some sort of offset flashes up as well, presumably, or some other setting. I'm not sure what this -3 is here. But I call this out to you guys for saying, well, other drivers also have presets at the back of the steering wheel, but they're even using them in situations where, like, it's not, Max set that up, that push-pull toggle behind the wheel for that exact direction change, turn 5 and 6 situation. Whereas Oscar's just like, yeah, I'm sure he's got other ways to change brake balance on the wheel, but he's just doing it here, you know, on the straight. This is on the run down to turn 5. So with time, presumably. Now, it might just be like, it's obviously a lot more comfortable in that position. But yeah, I thought I'd call it out. I'd be curious to know, does Oscar make those changes in the mid corner as well? Like between, in the middle of chicanes? I'd be keen to know. Have a look at this video that I got from Oscar as well. He talks through the steering wheel. This is really interesting.
One steering wheel in 60 seconds. Here we go. So we've got these rotaries here that do a bunch of stuff, change the diff, the engine braking, brake bias, stuff like that. We've got the radio toggle here.
So he mentioned brake bias on one of the rotaries, which he didn't want to use it in the Baku example.
Overtake button, a marker button, which we can use for engineers to look at stuff. Neutral. These are our shift lights up here. We've got the FIA warning lights as well on the side. This is our dash where we see our gear, all sorts of different stuff on there. We've got the 3 multi-function switches. So this one is just our engine modes and stuff. And these 2 are for defaults, so to cancel sensors if stuff goes wrong. We then have the pit lane speed limiter, the recharge button, and then we have these +10 and +1 buttons for going through all the different defaults to change stuff.
Have a listen now, the back of the steering wheel.
On the back, quickly, we have the clutch paddles, gear shifts. We have these brake biases, and then some other toggles that you can set to whatever you want. There you go.
That last part was interesting, just at the back. I'm going to play that again.
And +1 buttons for going through all the different defaults to change stuff. On the back, quickly, we have the clutch paddles, gear shifts. We have these brake biases, and then some other toggles that you can set to whatever you want. There you go.
There you go. So Oscar's got it set up as well. We have these brake biases and other toggles that you can set to whatever you want as well. So that's good from McLaren. I'm not sure if Max has that, like you guys will know probably more than me, if Max has that third like clutch paddle thing plus the little toggle as well. So there's options for the drivers. They're multifaceted, right? You can push one button and it can change everything from diff, you know. So I call that out because it's going to be an opportunity this weekend to optimize as well. But Max seems to be like, you talk about Schumacher, like Schumacher was the first one to change corner to corner brake balance. And at that time it was like, wow, he's changing it between the corners. Like, isn't that amazing? Michael, you know, he's full optimizing the car for the braking between corners. And then you had probably after Schumacher, it was like Rosberg, who just went to all sorts of levels, you know, thinned out his gloves, worked with mental coaches, sleep, nutrition, diet, lost weight on his legs to lower his center of gravity, stripped all the paint off his helmet. You know, he did all these other little things to optimize the situation as well. Obviously went through all of the dash. If you watch Nico's YouTube videos, he's always like making changes. He's always talking about the changes that he makes, you know, between corners. So there was Rosberg, and now clearly there's Max as well. So I'd put him in that category at the moment. Someone had a good comment. Give me a sec. Atharva Mahatme, sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. Max is a perfectionist. He's already confident with the car, so he's got more room to change and tweak settings. Yeah, good one. Yeah, Yuki is underconfident, so he drives the car like it is. Wow. Very good. I agree. Huddy Mac, the Red Bull is not as bad a car as the media want us to believe. They won 4 of the last championships. You don't just become slow. Okay. I believe RB's car is more of a setup than a development issue. Yeah, well, like I say, at this point, like when Yuki's not making those changes intra-lap, it's like they're almost driving different cars. That switch could be responsible for like 10 things. And then it's like, at that point, doesn't it become a different handling car? Obviously, that's why Max wants to make the change. So why is this important? Why am I telling you this big story about steering wheels? Well, firstly, to clarify the position again, and just, again, you guys, hopefully we're all on the same page now and we all agree on that. And because it's going to be another talking point this weekend, if we see Max get pole, we're going to look straight at the steering wheel and see what's going on. So come over, let's have a look at the whiteboard. Yeah, Carlos's crash, cool. Yeah, let's talk about the track map now. We'll show you guys around. It's going to be a long live stream, guys, but hopefully there's a bit of learning going on. All right, so yeah, there will be places where this sort of thing is going to happen. Now that we know this, you know, surely into 3, maybe there's an opportunity for a change across here, because 3 is that long, clumsy corner again with the front end grip. Whereas you've got downforce with you when you break into 1, you don't necessarily when you break and turn into turn 3 that significant or that much. Probably see another opportunity for a change into the hairpin here. Again, same situation. Just tricky to get the car rotated around this hairpin. In the middle of Singapore, turn 13. There might be some ideas there. So there you go. Now, I wanted to tell you guys, why do you think I've got these 3 red circles over here?